Let's talk about one of the most dangerous standoffs on the entire planet, the long, simmering conflict between the United States and Iran. It's a situation that feels like it's perpetually on a knife's edge, but there just might be a way to step back from the brink. We're going to break it all down.
It sounds like something out of a political thriller, right? Could the fate of the global economy and the difference between war and peace really all come down to a tiny 21-mile stretch of water? Well, as we're about to find out, the answer is a scary and resounding yes. And this is it. This is the place, the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, look at it. It might look calm, but don't let that fool you. This is one of the most volatile and strategically critical places on Earth. It is the absolute heart of this standoff. So how on earth did we get here, to this breaking point? Well, this wasn't some overnight flare-up. Nope. We are looking at decades of tension, pressure, and defiance that have brought two powerful nations right to the edge of a cliff. Think of it like this. In one corner, you've got the US and its Western allies, and in the other, you have an increasingly hardline, defiant Iranian regime. Both sides are completely dug in, both are convinced they're right, and neither wants to be the one to blink first. And this, right here, this lays out the deadlock perfectly. The US says, look, prove to us your nuclear program is peaceful, and then we'll talk about lifting these crushing sanctions. But Iran fires right back, saying, hold on, our nuclear program is our right, and it's our best piece of leverage. You lift the sanctions first, then we'll talk. You see the problem? It's a total stalemate, and nobody is budging.
Okay, so let's dig into that first massive bargaining chip on the table, Iran's nuclear program. This is where things get really, really serious.
Now, that number you see, 60%, to you and me, it might not mean a whole lot. But to a nuclear scientist, that number is a blaring five-alarm fire. Why? Because uranium enriched to that level has basically no peaceful civilian use. It is a massive step towards weapons-grade material.
So what does that mean in real terms? It means Iran is reportedly getting dangerously close to having enough fissile material for not just one, but multiple nuclear bombs. That possibility alone just changes the entire game and raises the stakes for everybody.
But here's the thing. The nuclear program isn't Iran's only ace in the hole. It has another, maybe even more immediate way to make the entire world feel the pain.
And here we are again, back at the Strait of Hormuz. This is Iran's biggest non-nuclear weapon, if you will. By controlling this tiny waterway, Iran essentially has its hand on the planet's energy jugular. And that is an incredibly powerful card to hold.
Just think about that for a second. Every single day, around 150 ships, most of them giant oil tankers, squeeze through this narrow channel. It's like a constantly flowing artery for the global economy.
So what happens if that artery gets clogged, or even worse, cut? Well, the fallout would be instant and honestly catastrophic. We're not just talking about the price of gas going up. We are talking about a massive shock to global finance, a direct threat to the huge logistics hubs in the Gulf, and real economic pain for pretty much every country on Earth.
Okay, so with the stakes this incredibly high, you gotta ask, is there any way out? Is there a path forward that doesn't end in disaster? Well, some people think there just might be.
The whole secret might just be in this one idea right here. It's not about one side winning and the other side losing. It's about politics. It's about finding a way for both the American and the Iranian leaders to walk away, go home to their people, and say, we gotta win. It's a political off-ramp, because this is just as much about national pride as it is about nukes.
So what would this path actually look like? Well, you can think of it as a step-by-step de-escalation. First, a gesture of good faith. The West releases some of Iran's money that's been frozen for years. In return, Iran has to offer real, verifiable proof that its nuclear intentions are peaceful. You see? It's all about building just enough trust to get to that final deal. And this is the fundamental trade-off. Iran gets the economic lifeline it desperately needs. The West gets the security assurances it's been demanding. It's a solution where each side gets what it wants most, without having to completely surrender.
Of course, none of this is happening in a bubble. This isn't just about Washington and Tehran. The entire region is holding its breath, because what happens here affects absolutely everyone.
And you can see why. I mean, you've got Pakistan trying to act as a mediator, you have the Gulf states whose entire economic future could be wrecked by a conflict, and then there's a powerhouse like India, worried about its energy supply, yeah, but also about the 10 million of its citizens who live and work in the Gulf. Everybody has skin in this game.
But There's always a but, isn't there? And the big one here is the internal politics of Iran. Any potential deal has to be sold to and approved by a very hardline regime. And trying to navigate that internal power structure, well, that's one of the toughest parts of this whole puzzle. All right, so let's just quickly pull all those threads together. We've got this intense deadlock over nukes and sanctions. We've seen how the Strait of Hormuz gives Iran this incredible leverage over the world economy. We've looked at a possible way out, a middle ground deal where everyone can claim a victory. And we've seen why the entire region is so invested in a peaceful solution. Which brings us to the final and most important question. Even if they pull it off, even if a deal is actually signed, it would be an incredibly fragile peace in one of the most volatile places in the world. So the ultimate challenge isn't just making the deal, it's making it last. And that is the billion-dollar question.